My stolen identity ruined my life until I found the woman using it. When I confronted her, I discovered we were both victims of something much darker. Miss Chin, I am sorry, but your loan application has been denied. I stared at the bank manager in disbelief. My credit score was 782. I had a stable job as a pediatric nurse for 8 years. This made no sense. There must be some mistake, I said. She turned her monitor toward me. You have 3 mortgages in default, $47,000 in credit card debt, and a repossessed vehicle from last month. My stomach dropped. None of those accounts were mine. That was just the beginning. Over the next 6 weeks, I discovered someone had been living as Mi Chen for nearly 2 years. They had driver's licenses, credit cards, even a passport minurtal, all with my information but with their photo. My identity thief wasn't just making purchases. They were living an entire life as me. The police filed a report but warned me these cases rarely get solved. The credit bureaus required mountains of paperwork to dispute each fraudulent account. My landlord evicted me after a background check showed I had been arrested for check fraud in Nevada paired, a state I'd never even visited. I was sleeping on my sister's couch, using prepaid debit cards, and had to take a leave of absence from work when my nursing license was temporarily suspended due to the fraud investigation. One night, unable to sleep, I created a fake Instagram account and searched my own name. What I found changed everything. There she was, Parenti Mi Chen, living in Phoenix. Her profile was public, filled with photos of brunches, hiking trips, and a small bakery she apparently owned. She wasn't hiding. She was flaunting my name in plain sight. I called in sick to my temp job and drove 6 hours to Phoenix with nothing but a shreth of her bakery storefront. When I arrived at Mi Sweet Creations, I sat in my car for an hour, watching customers come and go. Finally, I saw her parent, the woman wearing my name, my credit score, my life. I walked in as she was arranging pastries in a display case. She looked up with a smile that vanished when she saw my face. We had the same build, similar features, parent both Chinese, American women in our early 30s. The resemblance was unsettling. I know who you are, I said quietly. Or rather, who you are pretending to be. She didn't run, instead her eyes filled with tears. Please, she whispered, not here. After closing the shop, she took me to her apartment above the bakery. There she showed me a folder containing her real identity. Then Claire, a Chinese immigrant who arrived 4 years ago on a fiancé visa. My fiancé said it wasn't real, she explained. When I arrived, men were waiting. They took my passport and told me I owed $50,000 for my travel arrangements. Lynn had been trafficked. For 18 months, she was moved between massage parlors until she escaped with the help of a regular client. Without documentation, she couldn't work legally or return to China, where her family had been threatened. A man sold me your identity for $10,000, she admitted. I used it to start over. I'm sorry for what it's done to you, but I was desperate. I should have called the police immediately. Instead, I found myself asking about her bakery, which was actually profitable. She showed me her books there she'd been setting aside money every month to eventually pay back all the debt she'd accrued in my name. I just needed time to establish myself, she said. I planned to clean up your credit once the bakery was stable. We spent the night talking, 2 women whose lives had been entangled by desperation and crime. By morning we had a plan. Lynn would legally change her name and apply for asylum as a trafficking victim. I would help her through the process in exchange for her testimony against the identity theft ring that had sold her my information. It took 8 months of working with federal agents, but they eventually arrested 6 people connected to a massive operation that had trafficked women and stolen over 200 identities. Lynn received her asylum status and legally changed her name. She kept her bakery and hired me to handle the bookkeeping remotely while I rebuilt my life in California. 3 years later, my credit is finally restored. Lynn's bakery now has 2 locations. We talk weekly, bound by a strange friendship formed through shared victimhood. Sometimes when people ask how we met, we just smile and say, we used to share everything. It's easier than explaining that we both had to lose our identities before we could truly find ourselves.